Welcome South Africa. We chat to renowned and respected property developer, owner of Radisson Blue Hotel, Durban Umhlanga, Mr. Vivian Reddy. My name is Denver Naika. You're watching The Get Real Show only on GlowTV.
Hi, I'm Vivian Reddy, and you can catch me on the next Get Real show with Denver Naika on GlowTV.
Hi Mr. Reddy, welcome to GlowTV.
Now, Denver, it's great to be on GlowTV, and I know my wife's always on the station, and I'm glad you're giving me the opportunity to talk to your viewers.
Wow, thank you so much. We know you are an extremely busy man, and time is of essence, so thank you for affording us this opportunity.
No, absolutely great. As you know, this week we opened this Radisson Hotel, and we're just finalizing stuff. We're going to be opening our mall very soon, but we'll talk about that later.
So, Mr. Reddy, you are a man that has risen to success, broken all boundaries, and a man that is well admired throughout South Africa and certainly throughout the world. But your story certainly would have started somewhere. Please take us through the journey.
Well, the story goes back a long, long time ago. I'm the youngest of 9 children. My father was a school teacher. And we lived in a suburb called Greenwood Park, a wonderful suburb. And, it was what is so good, in fact, today is the 40th anniversary of my late mom's passing. And I reflect and look at the values they instilled in me. The values of integrity and honesty and service to humanity is the values they instilled in me. And that's how I did my life. Hence, I'm known for my philanthropy. And then when you fast forward and I talk about the life after, working at an electrical company, and I got dismissed from this electrical company because at one Christmas party I took a whole lot of black workers to where the whites were and enjoyed their drinks and meat, and I was fired that Monday morning. But I told the general manager at the time, one day apartheid will be over and I'll have a bigger electrical company. I said it tongue in cheek. I didn't even have 2 cents in my back pocket. I didn't have a vehicle. But anyway, I thought I'll very easily get a job because I was good at what I did. I just couldn't get a job because word had spread that I was a trouble causer. And I was forced to go into my own business. And being inexperienced, and that's one of the big problems today, where people go into business without the necessary skills and they fail. And that's what happened to me. The first contract I did was for 56,000 Rand, a project across the harbor. And I worked night and day. And that was the year I got married. And I told my dear wife, Mogi, we're going to go for a honeymoon we couldn't afford. And I started off this business, by the way, with a bakkie that I borrowed from my sister in Dundee and 500 rands from my brother. And that's how we started the business. And I was so excited because when you look back at about 40 years ago, for 10,000 Rand, you could buy a brand new Mercedes-Benz. And we were going to make a substantial profit on that. And all these big dreams I had, and I went to collect the money. Those days you had checks. And there was a notice on the company door saying company in liquidation, contact our attorneys. I was absolutely devastated. I went down and I couldn't tell my wife what was happening. But that evening when I lay down in bed, I was very depressed. But my mind went back to 1971 when I was in the Boy Scouts. And I represented South Africa in the Boy Scouts World Jamboree. And at that time, as I told you, my father was just a school teacher. And I'm being the youngest of 9 children. The community of Greenwood Park, which I'm still indebted to today, they collected the 1,800 rands that were needed to send me to the World Jamboree in Japan. They had cake sales, jumble sales, raised the money. My late brother SK was very involved in this. So I went to Japan, and at Japan, I got to be elected to be at the World Youth Forum, and the guest of honor at the Youth Forum was astronaut Neil Armstrong. And 69, he went to the moon. I met him. 71, I became the first person in Africa to have had an interaction with him. And I was only 16 years old. I didn't know what to say. When my time came to greet him, I went up to him and said, "Sir, can you tell me the secret of your life?" And he told me about the youngster, how he used to look at the moon and the telescope and how he studied and he eventually became an astronaut. But his parting words to me was, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. Perseverance prevails when all else fails. It's simply, and he said, never ever give up in life. And that's been our motto. I never ever gave up on anything in life. And that's what we must strive to do as human beings. As soon as one door is closed, we must open the next door. We must not get depressed. We must not get despondent. We must always think positively. And those words of Neil Armstrong inspired me. The next day I went and met everyone I owed money and talked to them. And that's one of the big problems today in our society. When we owe people money, businesses fail. They hide away from the creditors. They hide away from the suppliers. Now, at the end of the day, we need to talk to people. And when we are honest, people like an honest discussion. And that's what I did. I went honest, told them, we cannot pay you, this is a problem, but I'm going to take a long time. So I worked night and day and paid everyone in 9 months. And I started off life as Reddy's Electrical. And we were getting no work contracts under Reddy's Electrical. And that's when I thought of naming the company Edison Power after Thomas Edison. And people used to call me and say they want to speak to Mr. Edison. And I used to tell them, Mr. Edison is not in, can I help them? I actually masqueraded in the apartheid days as a white-owned company. And the irony today, you phone Tulani's Electrical and Mr. Van der Merwe answers, and say Tulani is not in. But those days, because people thought it was a white-owned company, we got work. But when we discovered it was not, it was an Indian-owned company, they persecuted us, they tried to bankrupt us, they did everything possible. And I used to tell my workmen and workwomen at that time, I used to quote the words of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King said that even if you are a street sweeper, you must sweep the streets so clean, like the way Beethoven played music or Michelangelo painted. Everyone going past must say you're the best street sweeper in the world. It simply means that you've got to be the best at what you do. You've got to strive to be the best. You've got to be admired. When people must say, no matter what you do in life, you've got to do your best. And we became known for the quality of our work. And we built the electrical business over the years. And then the new South Africa came in. And, we got lots of big contracts in the new South Africa. Then we also diversified into casinos. I loved going to play in casinos, Wild Coast, and I used to tell my friends, one day I'm going to own a casino. They laughed at me. And when the new casinos offered, and I put Sabaya together, Newcastle, Pietermaritzburg, the one at Garden Route, and even in Zambia we had a casino. And what it shows, that I knew nothing about casinos, but I still got involved in the casino business. I knew nothing about pharmaceuticals. I still got involved in pharmaceuticals. I mean, we had a diagnostic business where we had the first device to test HIV/AIDS. You could rub it on your gum and it told you whether you are positive or not. It was called AutoQuick. We printed banknotes, the Australian type of banknote, little window. We managed the South African post office. I started off YFM radio station. And, I got into the property business, but I'm a qualified electrician. That's my only qualifications. And in life today, you could do anything you want. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. We were blinkers today. We just believe, we cannot do things. And if you look at the people of the world, whether it be the Elon Musk of the world and the Tim Cooks of Apple or all these great businessmen, they were not born as businessmen. They created themselves. They turned themselves into business people. And that is what we need to do. We need to look at the bigger picture. We need to look at things broadly. And we must never be afraid of taking risks. In business, it's all about risk. You've got to take those risks in business. And, the rest is known about me, in terms of the business success. But more importantly to me is it is very, very important that in society today and I strongly believe that a rich man is poor if you do not share your wealth with the needy people. And it's very, very important because today in South Africa, when we look at society and we as businesses can't be living on an island of prosperity surrounded by a sea of poverty. It's an ingredient for a revolution. And that is why it is so important that we all got to go out there and help to uplift our poor fellow South Africans. And my philanthropy is well known. We support 120 organizations. We've given over 250 million to charity, and we continue doing things. We're in the forefront of all the crisis that happens here. We urge people. But it's not about money. I urge your listeners and viewers that you must go out there and spend time in your societies. Get involved in your ratepayers, your child welfare, mental health, whatever the organization is. Go out there and help people. Give up your time, because your time is sometimes more valuable than money, because we need your expertise to uplift, and all South Africans need to do it. We need to be patriotic South Africans, to where we could roll up our sleeves and help to make this country better. And every one of us, we've had serious problems in this province. Besides the pandemic, we had the uprising, and we are very resilient as South Africans. Though we had a major uprising in July, last year, and we've actually rose up from that, and we continue our lives. I mean, I've opened this big hotel. When I started it, you had the pandemic, the uprising, we've had floods, but we did not stop.
Mr. Reddy, we'll be back after this. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we are sitting with one of the most humblest man in South Africa and one of the most wealthiest man in South Africa, Mr. Vivian Reddy. Mr. Reddy, during the break, you told us about from 500 rands. From 500 rands, you persevered and you pushed and you never let anyone stand in your way. And thereafter, you flourished into what we call in South Africa magic. And you are seated here today, and I'm so excited to be beside you. They say if you're surrounded by 9 out of successful people, you're bound to be the 10th one. Just tell me about that part. I mean, how did you manage to build this empire in South Africa?
When you look at my life story and what I did, I always persevered. I always thought about new ideas. I wasn't satisfied with second best. And that's what my life is all about. I have a principle, it's called CANEI, C-A-N-E-I. It means consistent and never-ending improvement. And it's a very important thing, I'm going to repeat it. It's C-A-N-E-I, and it means constant and never-ending improvement. What it means is that every day of your life must be better. Today must be a better day than yesterday, and tomorrow must be a better day than today. We as human beings, we've got to strive to better, no matter what it is in our lives, our personal lives, our business lives, no matter what you do. Even if you are a sweeper or working in a kitchen, you've got to do things better every day. And what I do, and what's helped me in life, is that when after a busy day or a quiet day, I would lay down in bed and look at how could I do things better. I try to analyze the day to say, this is what I could do better. And that's what helps when you start thinking about. But too many of us, we don't analyze the things we do. We need to look at business, especially business. And one of the things I did, besides just being qualified in the electrical space, I looked for opportunities. We as human beings, we must be like eagles. We must soar above everything, and when we see an opportunity, we must go down and grasp it. It's very important, and there's lots of opportunities still available here in South Africa, and especially as the Indian community. We as a community are expert in family businesses. We are traders. And there are a lot of very, very successful Indians in South Africa, a number of them. And I see a lot of them at my Sabaya casino also, where they come to have great amount of joy. And one of the things about a casino business is that people wonder why they come to a casino and they have such a great time. What happens with the human mind is that if at any single second, if I tell you, look at my finger, you cannot think twice. Our mind is wired up to only think of one item. So when you come to a casino, you get so engrossed in where that roulette ball is going to fall, or whether the cards you called is going to be right, or whether that slot machine, the numbers are going to come up for you. And you become so focused that you forget about all your troubles. And you have a couple of drinks, you enjoy yourself, and what you know, you come to a casino, you feel great. And that's what it is. It's a great experience, a great opportunity. But coming back and using that same theory as a human being, if we are focused on success, if we decide we're going to be successful, we are going to do things to the best of our ability, no matter what we do, we will succeed. And it's very, very important for us to be consistently exploring what we do, no matter what businesses we have. And we must diversify, and that's what I did. From the electrical business, I diversified into so many things. I mean, I was with someone, in fact, executives of one of the biggest Sunday newspapers in the country. And we were having a discussion, and they asked me about YFM radio. And they said, how did you get into YFM radio business, you know? And I said that exactly like what I did into the other businesses, I knew nothing about it, but I made it my duty to go and learn, even with the casinos. I mean, when I first joined with Sun International in partnership with Subaya, I went to Vegas, I traveled to Malaysia, met the Genting family there to learn. And you got to explore, you got to learn, you got to read, and I read a lot, and I research a lot. And that's how I built my businesses, by not sitting back. And one of the other things people must remember, that one of your networking is very important. And if I look at some of the businesses I started, like the postal management business, just sitting at an airport, or the banknote business, both happened at airports. And I was talking, you know, at airports in London, I was in the business class lounge there, and someone was alone next to me, and we started talking, and he happened to be head of one of the reserve banks in the country that printed this note, and we talked, we met him, and I was heading for somewhere else, and I changed my trip from there to go and meet him. And I ended up getting the opportunity as a distributor and producer of these banknotes for Africa and some other countries. You know, it's the same thing with the post office. You know, I met someone just in casual talk, and they were from New Zealand Post and a company called Transcend International, and they said how they could turn South African post office around. And I went to the government and said, we can turn this around, and they put it to an international bid, and we won the bid. And that's what you've got to do. Talking to people, you can create business opportunities. We must never ever be sit back and be completely relaxed and satisfied, especially when you are young and growing up. You know, people ask me, you know, when will I stop? And the reality is that it's unlikely I would ever stop, because in life, as long as your mind and body is active, you can do things. You've got to be productive. And one of the things we do all the time, you know, I mean, I've got an amazing wife, you know, and your relationship at home and your family is very important, no matter who you could be. You could be the Mandelas of the world or the Bill Clintons and go in and talk to hundreds of thousands of people. But at the end of the day, you come to your home. And it's that relationship you have at home that's got to be so solid, and there's got to be unity and serenity in your home. And that's what really counts in life. Because it's senseless you having all the money in the world and having a bad family life. And that is where the integrity of relationships count, the relationship you have with your family. And I always advise people that never ever go to bed without solving an argument. Everyone has arguments. You've got to. And I'm very fortunate. You know, I've got an amazing family, an amazing ex-wife, Mogi, who's very close to Suresha. We're a united family.
We'll be back after this. Most of our viewers would be wondering whether the two wives get on, and you've just ironed that out. So the both wives get on, they have a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. Mogi and Suresh, I mean, they buy each other gifts, they visit each other, they have a wonderful relationship, because in life is too short to fight about things. Life is too short, you know. It's not that everything was rosy from the beginning, but the both of them worked at it, and especially Suresha worked at it. And, you know, she's an absolutely amazing human being. And my family is so united. You know, we get together on birthday functions, we get together on weekends. And to me, what gives me the happiness is seeing my whole family together, all united. And of course, you know, Suresha and Mogi. Mogi is an absolutely great human being, one of the most warmest, kindest souls you could ever get. She's a great person. And unfortunately in life, sometimes relationships don't work out. But what is important is that, you know, you've got to, when you go to divorces and separations, you've got to work at keeping the relationship. Because you cannot, when you love someone, when you have children with someone, they cannot be your enemy. It's wrong. It's just absolutely wrong in this world. How could you be enemies with someone that gave birth to your children, that's someone you love? And remember, when you show love, you bequeath love. You cannot, when you are kind, you say kind words to people, they don't respond with harsh words. And that's what life is all about, random acts of kindness and goodwill. And that is very, very important. I'm blessed at home, and coming back to Surisha, I know you all interviewed her. I mean, she's up at 4:30 in the morning or even maybe 4 a.m., seeing to the kids. And people don't realize it. They see this Real Housewives of Durban, they see this absolutely glamorous, beautiful woman. They don't realize that she is such a hardworking person. Like, one of the amazing things that your viewers will be shocked to hear is that every evening, if we have a function or we have a meal, we got two maids at home, but they work hours. At 5 o'clock, they stop working. In the evening, Sarisha will go and wash all the dishes herself. But if she doesn't want the maids to walk into the kitchen to see dirty plates and things. And that's the kind of person and human being is, from getting up at 4, cooking for the kids. And the kids are her life, she sees to the education. And where she fills in the gap of someone that's being very successful in business, someone that's successful as a human being, someone that is so stunningly beautiful, a great wife, absolutely wonderful mother, and also, remember, she's also a step-grandmother to my son. I mean, my son recently got married, and she helped to organize the wedding, and she was involved in that wedding. And that's what she is. She's very close to all my children. And she loves my grandkids. So I'm blessed in life to have a wonderful wife in Surisha and also a wonderful family. And that's what makes me happy, and that's what keeps me going. And as long as you have a peaceful mind, a peaceful home, you'll have a successful business.
Mr. Reddy, I would like to take my 2 hands for you, because I want to tell you something. You've created so many jobs in South Africa whilst the economy is falling. You've taken it to a whole new level where thousands of jobs will now be created in this very hotel. You've brought the overseas look right here into KZN. But, from an individual sitting in your seat at this point, I mean, what was running through your mind? We spoke about so much. You said the pandemic came against you, the floods came against you, the looting came against you, but again, we are here.
Look, this entire Oceans project is major. It's 4.5 billion. It's the biggest project in South Africa. During construction, hectic construction, it's created 26,000 jobs. There will be 3,500 permanent jobs. And this hotel, I chose Radisson Blu as the hotel manager here because they're the second largest hotel group in the world, 1,600 hotels. They have about 35 hotels in South Africa, in the rest of Africa. And it's a brand that's recognizable and is now owned by the Chinese, and there's a lot of Chinese visitors to South Africa, which will augur well for us. And that is what you do in life. When you chose, whether it be the casino, I always chose the right type of business partners. And I create jobs. At one time when I owned the casino and the mall in Newcastle, we created 2,500 jobs. We're the second biggest employer to ISCO. In Quadriguza, we're the third highest employer. We employ 1,000 people at our mall. So I love creating jobs because every single job you create, you help families to sustain themselves. People ask me about why is Edgar's still at your mall, though they're paying a very reduced rental. And when I went there, when Edgar's were going into business rescue and they were being sold, and I walked in and I saw there's all those staff, and I just couldn't get myself to give them a termination notice because I wanted them to be still employed. And that's what business is all about. It's not only about profits and value. You've got to think about people. It's about human beings. No matter, because business, sometimes people say business is about business, that's fine, but it's more important. Business is about people, the warmness. And your business will become successful if you treat your people kindly, you look after them financially, and most importantly, you make them feel worthy in your businesses. And I surround myself with very, very highly qualified people because I just don't do all the work. I'm the architect. I create ideas, I create visions, and I employ other people to make those dreams a reality for me.
We'll be back after this. and giving back to the community is something you hold very close to your heart. You're not only the wealthiest man in South Africa, you're wealthy on this level as well.
This issue of humanitarian and helping people started when I was a young boy. My father, though he was a school teacher, he used to collect money from our Indian community and build schools in Cliffdale and other areas. He built a lot of schools. And I used to, from the age of about 9, 10, I used to be up at about 5 in the morning, travel with him, and I used to help handing out bricks. But then it is those values that were instilled in me by my dad. But he was a philanthropist, though he was only a school teacher, but he was involved. He started the Mental Health Association. He was involved in child welfare. And from a young age, as a family, even my brothers were involved in the communities. And so it's something I grew up with, the ability to care, because I believe that service humanity is the work of God. And if we want to serve God, you go out there and uplift the less fortunate. And that gives me the greatest joy. I sleep very well at night knowing that my money and my profits are helping to create better lives for others. And as long as I help to make other people sleep more soundly, I myself can do the same. And it is very, very important for all of us is to practice random acts of kindness. And simple example, when you get a call in the evening and it's some telecaller calling from a call center to sell you something, we tend to get upset with that person. We shouldn't be doing that. That person is a human being doing a job. It would be so nice if you told the person, you know, sorry, I'm not interested in the product, or I'm in the middle of a meal and I cannot talk to you now, but please have a wonderful evening and hope you have better luck with your next call. We got to make other human beings feel better. Whether you at a robo and someone's handing out a pamphlet, take the pamphlet. You don't have to open your window. You can open your window a little bit, but take the pamphlet and tell the person, have a good day. We, for some reasons, we find it difficult to say thank you. We find it difficult to be nice to people. Not everyone, but lots of people find it difficult. You know, it costs nothing to smile at people, to uplift others. You uplift yourself, and that is what is so important. And as long as we make other people happy, we become happy.
Mr. Reddy, I can see now why you are where you are. You hold such wonderful traits and you are extremely humble. I'm glad that we were able to expose this to our viewers so everyone gets to see you on the personal level the way we are seeing you. We would love for you, first we would love to wish you a very happy Father's Month. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. How would you be spending it?
Well, I tell you, my Father's Day is absolutely amazing. And maybe that's one of the big advantages of having two families. So I get lots of gifts. We all have a great time. Everyone comes home. Either Surisha hosts it, or Mogi hosts it, or my son Shanton hosts it. And I also got wonderful son-in-laws and daughter-in-law, I've got two daughter-in-laws, and, my youngest son, one is Shalima, and one's Bronwyn, and they both wonderful girls. And then I've got a wonderful son-in-law. His name is Vivian Reddy. He is actually a cardiothoracic surgeon specializing in pediatrics. He does heart surgeries in babies and children, very sought after. But despite his great skills and the fact that he's saving lives all the time, he's one of the most humble human beings you could ever get. And I'm so glad that in my family, even my son's got a very successful IT business. His wife, Shalima's she's a designer. She manufactures outfits very, very good. We've got great grandchildren. Even my son, Kuber, and his wife, they got successful businesses. But I am so blessed to have a family that comes with humility and humbleness. And that makes a big difference. And I think it's just as a family, we just believe that we are ordinary South Africans. We spend our lives like it. I know that's something else I must still do. If somehow I meet people that think we spend our lives a different way. We actually are ordinary South African. We spend our weekends and lives like everyone else, because it doesn't mean that you've got wealth, that you've got to live differently. We enjoy being together. We've been enjoying being together with friends and family and spending time. We don't have to be flying out, going on to yachts and flying everywhere. We do that at times, but we don't do that every weekend or something. We go for holidays to enjoy ourselves. But what is important about money You can have all the money you want, but it makes no sense if you do not use the money, number one, to uplift others, number one, to spend it on yourself and your families to enjoy your lives, because you can't take all the money with you. So it's very important that you live every day to its fullest, and you be kind and nice and loving and caring. And you know what happens is that when people go down the street and you go past them and they must just say, you know, here is someone. I want to leave a legacy as someone who has spent time uplifting the others and who who believed that service to humanity is a work of God. And my legacy is going to be one where I've helped to uplift the less privileged South Africans. And that's what I want to be remembered, as someone that really cared for the less fortunate.
Mr. Reddy, thank you. You've certainly accomplished that, and I'm guaranteed your name will be remembered and talked about years on end, and you can certainly hold your head up extremely proud. Happy Father's Day on behalf of the channel and all our viewers out there.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm hoping that this Radisson Blu Umhlanga Hotel, the newest 5-star hotel, which has got great facilities. In fact, for your weddings, our Indian community love weddings, we got 600-seater facility that can be broken down into 3x200s. We've got wonderful restaurants up here, the Fire Lake restaurants, and some of the best views of the sea. Every one of our 207 rooms got beautiful ocean views, and on top of this hotel I'm building 2 presidential suites that will be 600 square meters, which will be the biggest and the best presidential suites. And any one of your listeners, your viewers, come into Umhlanga, or you're looking for a holiday, the Radisson Blu Umhlanga Durban will be the place to be, because it's going to be the hippiest place. And when we open our mall that's going to be linked to it, it's going to have all these great international brands, 14 restaurants, and you've got all the shopping supermarkets here. We are changing the face of Umhlanga Rocks, and the Radisson Blu is going to be a hotel that's going to set a new standard in the Durban, and especially in KwaZulu-Natal and the Umhlanga area.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy, and that's us from Radisson Blu in Umhlanga. Join us next week when we chat to more extraordinary individuals from around South Africa. My name is Denver Naika for GlowTV.